That's crazy.
Thank God for the cameras, because it's because of the cameras we were able to catch the action that was happening between Lisa and Zoe. World Star!
So when I got into the room, I was amazed. I worked with kids for over 20 years, so I knew that when I got in there, the anger that I seen in Zoe was not normal. At the same time, I was in shock because I could not believe what I was seeing.
Looking at that, Zoe seems like quiet, and Lisa seems quiet, but you could tell she doesn't play around. So watching that, I was shocked at Zoe's reaction to her mom, and I was like, oh my God.
I was shocked that it actually happened, but I wasn't surprised.
I get a text message from Reid and said, I just broke up a fight between Lisa and Zoe. So I was like, what?
When I first seen the video with Lisa and Zoe, my first reaction was like, what the hell?
Was I surprised? Yes. The other side of me was not surprised, because I knew that there's some things between Lisa and Zoe.
I just couldn't believe that it happened. And just as much as she probably felt like she went too far, I felt like I went too far, because everything that just happened was like really real.
At first, it was like, oh, she's just coming in my room. But how she came in was aggressive.
Yeah, if I was a parent, I probably wouldn't have took it that far as to put hands on the child in the first place. Because I know that would have got the child heated anyway. Like, no child really wants their parents to put hands on them in the first place.
Even though he has not always been protected, he's always been a protector.
Broken people saw that signal and done what they thought they needed to do to the request that I was making, and they just chose improperly.
He never told me nothing. I knew nothing about it.
I feel like everyone in my family, in some form or way, has been fondled or molested or raped in some form or fashion.
I couldn't understand how God was in me, because I was that.
Larry was tolerated versus celebrated.
There's a wrong way and right way to do everything, and Larry always seemed to choose the wrong way.
Yes, I was drugged and raped, and that happened when I was 17 years old. Misfits have an ability to stick out. But if the misfit accept that they absolutely cannot fit in, then they become someone with an X factor.
Stay connected to Larry Reid Live. Take a moment and like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube page, and hit the bell. Text Larry Reid Live to 33222. That's the words Larry Reid Live, no spaces, to 33222, and get notified when we go live. Become a member of Patreon today by logging on to patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. Download the Patreon app and turn on your notifications. Get connected today.
Introducing Larry D. Reid.
All right, today's date is, what did it say, May the 2nd of 2022. My name is Larry D. Reid, and I am the host of Larry Reid Live, your absolute positively most favorite digital entertainment news and talk show that's out here on these social media streets. This is what I need for you to do. Number one, I need for you to hit like and hit share, especially over there on Facebook. We are broadcasting now, streaming right now on Facebook and also on YouTube. And because I use the word pandemic in my title, I am noticing everything I post on Facebook and on YouTube stories and even video on YouTube. In Instagram, if I use the word pandemic, mask, and certain keywords, they are now shielding my live signal and not notifying everybody that I am live. And we may get into why that is on tonight. Who knows? Because tonight I have my mentor who is a prophet. He's also your most trusted name in prophecy. What does that mean? That means there have been loads and loads and loads and loads of words that have came from God that were predictive in nature. Please let me clarify this. Prophets of God are not prognosticators, but sometimes when prophets are saying what God is telling them to say, the message that is coming from God has some prediction in it. And because he has done this for so many years after prophesying to several million of people, I'm clear, several million of people over the years, he is the most trusted, the most clear, he's the most direct, he is also the most accurate when it comes to the mind of God as it relates to his creation, not just the church. But of course, his ministry was birthed out of the church like mine was. And I want to say this to you tonight. You're going to hear something that you have not heard before, or hear something in a way you have not heard it before, because God gives this man articulation to be able to explain what is on his mind, number one, and what is on the mind of the Spirit. And it's just so clear and it's so refreshing. This is part 20 of our conversation about the pandemic and how it is affecting the church and our world and our communities that are represented here. Those of you that are viewing, wherever you are viewing from, whatever country you're viewing from, I call him America's Black prophet to the whole world. Now, of course, I believe his ministry, charity begins at home. All of us here in America, we need to really have our ears open, but God has used him several times to speak a word in many different continents. And I'm thinking right now of even in Swaziland, I think it was when he prophesied to the king and then told who was coming up next. And then the next person came up, then they changed their money, the word of the Lord and prosperity hit the country. You know, so this is why I say this is America's Black prophet, because I want to make sure that we know it's a black man. It's a black man. And there is a difference between a white man and a black man. They're both humans, may both have red blood, but there is a whole difference. And I want you to recognize him as a black prophet in America whose word goes around the whole world. That is Dr. E. Bernard Jordan, who's going to be with us on tonight. He's already in the green room. I just need all of you right now, 1,319 of you and counting between YouTube and Facebook. I need for you not to be spectators, but I need for you to be participators. How can I do that? Hit like and hit share right now. And if you're in the chat, I want to know where you are watching me from. So please tell me the city, state, or the country that you are watching me and the Archbishop E. Bernard Jordan. I lay into that arch. I want you to hit like and hit share. Also tell me where you're from. I like to go back and see who's watching and where, because I don't a bit more trust Googleations, analytics. I don't trust Facebookings, analytics, and none of them. So y'all tell me, and I see, oh, y'all from everywhere. Y'all tell me where you are from so I know who we are talking to. Now, this is the other thing I need for you to do. Don't let this stuff cost you money. It's a little piece of time. I want you to call all your church friends, you'll call your pastor, get all the prayer warriors, get the house prophet who always prophesied but ain't have sense enough to prophesy to you about this whole pandemic that's came amongst you. I need for you to call all those closed eyes prophets. I need for you to call all those prophets and tell them to tune in so they can start prophesying the word of the Lord that come out of Bishop Jordan's mouth, because they've been prophesying out of somebody else's mouth. It ain't been the Lord. So they might as well just become accurate. Just copy what he said. How about that? Just copy. Copy the prophet. Just copy the prophet. Just copy the prophet, if you will. Just copy him. We need everybody to be in the know. It is vital. We know many lives have been saved because so many people have been tuned in right here. Now there are 1,400, going on 1,500 of you now watching. Everybody hit like, hit share, and in the chat tell me. Now see, I just said that, and that like button is going up slow. How you can have about 1,500 people and ain't but 121 people hit like? Now what the hell is wrong with y'all? And y'all be wondering why the Lord won't bless you, because you don't like to obey nothing. You don't like to obey nothing. Do I need to turn into a master with a whip? I tell you, I don't know what I need to do in order to get you to do what you need to do. Hit the like and hit the share so this can go all the way out, where everybody can know what the hell is going on, so they're not up saying stuff and don't know what they're talking about. Because we got the prophet, America's black prophet of God to the whole wide world. He is here. All right, so I'm about to bring him up, and I can't hear your round of applause. I can't hear your shouts to the Lord, thanking the Lord for this vessel, but I need to see some hand claps in that chat as soon as I bring my spiritual pappy, who is my coach, my mentor, my spiritual father. This man has single-handedly shifted my life, and because of him, I am still out here lasting and doing what I do in a way that not only entertains, but educates and empowers. And I had the vision, I had the oil, all of that, but I needed a coach. Someone to say, here's your blind spot here, here's your blind spot here. Okay, do this here. Make sure, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And bam! Here I am. And as a result, I've been hand-walked into my destiny. And I want you guys to take a moment right now and just, there you go. I see them hand claps. Okay, I'm about to bring them on. Without no more. How do they say that, church? Further ado. What, Nancy, is that how they say it?
Without further ado.
What the hell? Ain't there another way to say that?
I don't know what that means.
Without, let's see. What's another way to say that? Without further ado. Without, let me see, how can I say? We're not going to waste no more time with intros. We're just going to bring the man of God up. And this is my mentor. So y'all be real nice in the comments, because I don't want to cuss in front of my mentor. But don't push me. I will. So don't do that. We got the bishop, the honorable Archbishop. Dr. I ain't asked you to give me no, let me submit your mic. This is me doing introducing my spiritual father. I do not need you to help. The Archbishop E. Bernard Jordan. Hey, Bishop.
Bless you, Dr. Larry Reid. How are you doing?
I'm doing well now that you are here. Purposefully on my end, after we booked to do tonight, I said I ain't gonna call, ain't gonna talk. We're gonna get into talking about what we need to be talking about tonight. I want it all to be fresh tonight. So we're gonna let them eavesdrop on our conversation. It's just me and you, Bishop.
All right.
How is you coming up on a birthday, June the 11th? How old will you be?
I will be 63 years old.
Wow.
I will be having my solar return, and I honor the Lord for allowing me to be sustained and kept during this pandemic, and through whatever is happening in our world today.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that I'm excited about that you have coming up is your documentary. A lot of people do not know your story. I'm still learning your story because you're 63 years old, soon be. So it's amazing, number one, to see you do this, because people like the big generals in the faith, we just pass the stories along. I mean, but we do not have anything to watch or to read for the most part and learn about them while they are alive, or they can tell their story. And I don't know if you know this, Bishop, at this space and place you are in your life at 63 years old, you in the prophetic, you're an icon. And it's a blessing to have you here to tell your own story. And I'm glad that a lot of people are still alive who started out with you so that they can sit in front of a camera and tell us about your life story.
When I was in South Africa in the living room of Winnie Mandela, she kept saying to me at that time, former President Nelson Mandela was still alive. She says, I got to get you to meet the old man. You got to meet the old man. And she said this to me: there's been many stories about him, but he has yet to tell his own story. I said, Mother Winnie, what are you talking about? He's never wrote his own story. All those books out there about Nelson Mandela, somebody else wrote his story. And she began to show me pages of her own story that she had handwritten while she was in prison, and different things that she went through, that she kept a daily journal. She says, I've written, but I haven't published yet. And we were talking to her then about publishing. And she said, he has yet to tell his story. When I left her living room and I came back to America, and this is about 10 years ago or so, or a little more than 10, I started saying, I've got to find a way to tell my own story. When I met you, there was a story out there about Prophet Jordan. There was a story out there about Bishop Jordan. And God used you and your platform to shift that narrative, because someone said Bishop Jordan was selling prophecies, and they put that in a magazine. And I could only respond back with an ink pen, but they had a barrel of ink. And what I've noticed, Larry, if you don't get in front of your story, someone else will project the story, that they will create a story and seek to make that story a truth in the world. And I suggest anyone that is thinking legacy, generational, make the investment and tell your own story.
That's powerful. For those who are watching and you are a public figure and you are a head of a family like Bishop Jordan and myself are, I think it's extremely important for you to make sure not only are things passed down orally, but have some kind of record as relates to your life, your journey, your lessons, your failures, your triumphs, and just your overall personal doctrine on how you live your life. And I can't wait. So when are we going to be able to see it, Bishop?
It's going to be June the 11th. It will premiere, and it will start to premiere at the Marriott Hotel at 12 noon, and it will be showed at 12 noon, 2, 4. The last showing, it will be at 6, and the 6 will be the red carpet premiere. And from the 6 o'clock crowd, all of those will be seated in particular seats as we begin to do the celebration of the 63rd year of the Master Prophet and America's Black Prophet.
Amen. I don't know if I ever use amen on my show, have I? I know Bishop do, but I don't know if I have. I'm excited about it, and I'm going to be there at the red carpet. I'm going to be front and center, and I'm bringing 9 people with me at least. It may end up being more, but we are coming to the celebration. I think what I may do if there are any patrons in the New York area, because this is going to be in Times Square.
It's going to be in Brooklyn, New York, at the Brooklyn Marriott, the borough where I was born. And Larry, let me say this. More than half the tickets have already gone.
Whoa.
We're going to have their Lena Bird Miles is going to be there. There's going to be a segment where the master prophet meets the Greeks, because now that I'm graduating this weekend from Virginia Union University, I want to view the different groups from the Divine Nine. I am now reading up on each one of the different fraternities, because I'm going to select a fraternity, and each one of them is going to come and present themselves. So this is going to be part of the 63rd birthday of the Master Prophet. And so there's a whole committee of people that are working on that are in different fraternities, so that each one is represented, because there's a community that I want to seek to support and align with. And then also with that, we have Kurt Carr that's coming, and also the Tommies will be there. So it's going to be something else.
Whoa! Wow! A lot of people don't know about the Tommies. I mean, you got to be a choir lover from the 80s to know who the Tommies are. So that's going to be exciting. I'm going to make sure that I let the audience know, so those who want to come and those who want to be a part, although half the tickets are already sold, but I know my table is secure.
Oh, listen, Larry, we're going to give you another table. Only for you.
Okay. And now I got to see who I want to bring. I got a guest I think I'm going to come with. I'm going to surprise you.
And then, of course, Tasha Page Lockhart, she has done a phenomenal job on the theme song of A Miracle Black Prophet. The way she sung that song brought tears to my eyes. And then the person that wrote the song, it's going to be a deeply moving moment. Of course, the people that are directing and executive producing is not allowing me to see what they're doing. They want me to see it on that day. But some of the interviews that I was able to hear, it's really moving, and it's going to be in more than one part, because we did not realize how extensive the prophetic was. We've had people that came out of the woodwork of when I first started ministry that dropped their sons at my home, that were in dire straits, that we didn't know that they were in dire straits, and then turned their sons back to them whole. We begun to hear stories of individuals that couldn't have children, and the word of the Lord came, and they've come back and actually brought the children, the fulfillment of the word of the Lord, the prophecies and the written judgments, the people that were around when I was writing it. It is going to be a documentary that every African American will be proud of. And we will be able to have a prophet in our community that is a part of our cultural experience when it comes to Pentecostalism, that has documented the journey of the prophet. And that what we will take away from it is that you got to stand looking like a false prophet long enough until people can declare that the word of the Lord is true.
Do you think you're in that moment now? I mean, because so many people have pinned you as a false prophet, and they have pinned you as the money hungry, whatever. And now you are being looked at for who you really are. And they're beginning to see, no, this is a truth. This is absolutely a prophet of God, whose God's hand is on. So do you feel anywhere in your soon to be 63-year-old body that you're in that moment?
Yes, Larry. And thanks to you that took the risk to do part one of this. If part one didn't come out good and we said a bunch of hogwash, then there would have never been a part 2. We didn't know when we were doing part 1 that was part 1. We just did something about what's going on, and we started reading out of the written judgments. Then you came and brought this book back alive again, and we've been part 3, part 4. I want everyone that's on today, I want you to, if you have a pastor, you want to tell them to tune in because of some things that I'm going to share today to prepare you for the future that is coming and the future of where church will possibly go. And if you want to be in the know, you're going to have to start leading from the future, or you're going to be chasing the future. And that means you are in the past. There will be many churches that will not reopen, Larry, or be able to recover if they don't pivot within the next 6 months.
Yeah. Now, what if I am a leader of a church and the language you're using, leading from the future, I don't have language for that. I don't know what that means. And I didn't even know about this pandemic. I didn't know. I wasn't able to give my people any insight. You know, I try to stay well informed, but I just don't have that prophet eye. What do you say to that person?
Then they do what Dr. Larry Reid has done. You go and find a set of eyes that can see on your behalf. Every seer needs a seer. Every king must have a set of eyes. When you look at David, who was a great king in Israel, the Bible says Nathan, David's seer, Gad, David's seer. Every king that has a seer has the potential to become a great leader. But every king or leader without a seer will be a wicked leader or lead their people in wickedness. Now, when I'm talking about wickedness, I'm talking about more than morality. I think it is wickedness when you lead your people into a burning house. If I was a denominational leader, I would have a bona fide prophetic voice in my ear, not telling me what I want to hear, not jumping my people, emotionalizing my people, sensationalizing my people, but giving us a clear call as how do we walk into the future that is calling us. We cannot afford, Larry, as you well know, to miss steps in this season. And there was a lot of missteps that many of our leaders have taken. And so many people have lost their lives, some because they just didn't shift their diet, some because they were in places that they should have been behind a closed door. And so every leader needs a leader, a set of eyes. Or not only that, look at the way you ministered 3 to 5 years ago, and look at how you're ministering today. If you didn't make the shift, Larry, you would not have been able to survive.
Absolutely. I heard the Spirit. I knew what the Spirit was saying, but even in that, I still needed someone who had eyes to see for me, who could guide me from the side as I was doing what I was doing on my stage. How do you choose that? I mean, because you came to me, it was really like an Elisha moment. You came to me and threw your mantle on me, said, "Come follow me." And I'm like, hold up. Let me go kiss mama and them. Let me make sure everything is all right. You know, so, and I had to pray and then get a word from the Lord to come back. Okay, let's do this. So how do you choose that? If you are a business owner, a pastor right now, and you're speaking a pivot, how do I do that?
Sometimes, Larry, you don't get to choose that. It chooses you. You just got to be a yes for the future that's calling you. I'm a firm believer, now this is a belief, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You were ready, and because of your readiness, I got to appear. Now, this is what happened. The invitation came to you. You could have been a no. There were so many people that I've stepped on their platform and gave them the invitation, but they were a no. And usually they are a no because they could not hear the voice that was calling them because of the noise that was in their head or the noise that is in their ear. If you cannot rise above the noise that you are in, you will not be a yes for the future that's calling you.
Wow. And the reality is, at that moment, because of my yes to God prior to this invitation to another yes, I didn't have a lot of noise. I didn't have anybody that I could even call and be like, what you think? I mean, I went straight to Jesus. You know?
Yes. But Larry, sometimes the noise could have been all the stuff you heard in the past.
Oh, yeah, that did cross my mind.
The rumors that you've had, right?
Yeah.
When I began to connect with you, there were people, dear people, loved ones that says, Bishop, leave Larry alone. Bishop, you're going to mess up. Bishop, you're just beginning to look decent. We're trusting you again, Bishop. You're going to mess your ministry up. Being with Larry Reid, I says, I know what I heard the Lord said. The Lord says, join with him. Today, 90% of those people have come back and said, Bishop, I didn't understand it then, but I see what God has done in this season. And I told him, I says, if that would not have happened, the Black church would have never had instructions on even how to walk through this pandemic. If God did not bring together the Elijah and Elisha principle here to begin to walk the people through. And I want to congratulate you for having the endurance to take this on for 20 episodes on your platform. I kind of feel a little special because I don't know anyone that you have done 20 episodes of anything with.
No, I absolutely have not. But I want to say this, and this is the reason why there are 2,279 of you watching between Facebook and YouTube. And a lot of you that normally on Facebook are saying you didn't even know it was on and you went to YouTube to check and I was there. Facebook is hiding the stream tonight. So on Facebook, so I need all of you guys on Facebook, do the work of an evangelist and start sharing out that link to really break through this ceiling shadow band that these robots are doing by Facebook's will. Bringing you on the platform. Bishop.
Let's say something else about that, Larry. Hold on. Now, Dr. Reid just gave a command, and I need you to really listen to this because there's something that's going to be imparted that your community needs to hear tonight. Remember, we are in some strange days. Some of our programs have been getting blocked on our personal platform. We had a special program on Thursday has been removed off of YouTube because of some things that we're saying and also prophesying that does not want to hit the wind. Watch this. Whenever there is grain in the fields, there are forces that will put scarecrows up to keep you out of the field where the grains that's going to give you life. And so this is not coincidental, which also means we're going to all be getting ready to pivot again because where the gospel is being blocked, we must begin to take it now in places where the gospel can be had. We're looking at the freedom of speech, whether you agree with what Elon Musk is doing or not concerning the Twitter situation. There is a fight for your voice to be heard. And we are right now in the days of tensions in platforms. The church is missing one of the greatest revivals that is happening in the moment of free speech because they're busy putting out fires instead of knowing how to get into the different communities that are out here for FREE.
Yeah.
So I want you to start posting on Facebook Instagram. And I want us to do what Jesus did, post it to at least 12 people. Let's start with the calling of the 12 and tell those 12 to do 12. You'll have 144. Let's become the 144,000 that will make this moment happen, that this becomes our modern day underground railroad, that we are transmitting information that causes the community to live, and they're supported because we have our own talking drum happening as each one shares one.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that my mind just went back to episode 1 and 2. When we began to talk about the church in the pandemic, we wore the word pivot out to where then we begin to hear other pastors and preachers talking about, we was trying to get them into the digital space and into social media. That's 2 years ago. Now, what we may need to tell everybody now is to use social media as a funnel and get your own app so that you can preach the gospel digitally and control how it's heard. What do you say about the church and the digital space, Bishop?
Websites are obsolete, as you know. We have websites today, but they're obsolete. You're going to now start to have to get into the app platform and begin to start building your own community, right? What your own community means that people will now have to come into your space to hear the truth. Jesus had teaching that was for the masses, and then he had teachings that was for the disciples. When we've been gathering here in these large platforms, we've been having disciple messages, and what is happening, the message is so impacting or riveting that now there's a shadow being put upon it or banned, because these are messages that will need to happen behind closed doors. And so there's many people that are coming and says, I didn't know you were on. Yeah. Or how didn't I get the message that you're on? Yeah. That's because you're going to now need to be plugged in. Yeah. You're going to have to know where you are assigned and what the future looks like. Yeah. So you're going to need to have apps. You're going to need to have meeting places. And you're going to also have to get ready for the metaverse of what the future look like when we start buying real estate in the metaverse in order to bring your own congregation or your followers or your network, or watch this, or the individuals that you will choose to have a master class with.
So is there a shift that is happening in the information age? Because we're normally inundated all the day long. We're a barrage of information coming through our newsfeed. Now it is more, what's the word? It seems as though the information is not just getting to you. If you want a specialized information and a certain level of knowledge, you now have to seek it out online. It's just not like there. I mean, the first 20 episodes, soon as we come on, everybody knows that we are on. The first 19 episodes, now they're finding it out because they know somebody that shared the link with them and said they're on. Well, I didn't get my notification. Do you think now it's very important for people to get into Patreon, get the app, to text so that they can receive a text from us when we're live? Because there's a shift that is happening in the information age.
Yes. And where we're at now, technology, we're getting ready to go into a place where there's going to be the rooms for general knowledge. The general knowledge is where we're meeting. Meet us this evening, we're going to be discussing XYZ. And then there is the meeting spaces for the specialized knowledge. Two kinds of knowledge that is coming forth: general knowledge and specialized knowledge. When you have specialized knowledge, it requires a level of intimacy and partnership to share that kind of knowledge, because too much light too soon will blind an individual. Everybody can't handle that particular light. And so when we begin to look at We are in a world right now where parts of Asia is totally shut down and America is wide open. Flights have not stopped going across countries. There is something that is also happening, and we're saying to people in our congregation and people that follow us, we want you now to start getting back on your vitamin D protocols. Please start building your immune system. I have heard more people saying they have allergies this year, or that the allergies have been a little bit more aggressive than they're used to experiencing. Build your immune systems. I'm going to read a prophecy from you today that I just discovered in Written Judgments. Remember, I told you on this platform that when you see the birds falling out of the sky, it will be a sign.
Yeah.
And the flocks of birds have already fell out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get ready to reveal to you the next wave of what's getting ready to happen in this pandemic. And it is something that is coming that the world nor the church is going to be ready to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I will sound like a quack before the end of this show. But in 2023 to 2025, you will point back to this 20th show and say, a prophet have stood among us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we've got to get prepared for.
You know, I'm ready. I think we are ready. And that's very true. With a lot of people that I know, allergies are worse than ever before. A lot of people have pulled back from the mask and from their vitamin regime. And also, we had a Build Your Immune System Health Challenge and wellness plan. And people pull back from it. I myself, if I be honest, sort of pulled back from it and just got into my work and other situations in my life. But recently, I felt that pull and that call to get back active, to see what my numbers were, check with my doctor. What is the scale telling me? You know, am I still losing weight or have I plateaued? I got comfortable. I went from 241 to 220 and I danced around there and I was good. Wow. But then I got serious again, probably about a month and a half ago, and now I'm back down to 210. But I need to go 10 pounds lower, you know. So is it extremely important for where we're going?
Yes. Larry, you are onto something, and what you're onto, we must get involved in weight management. Here's another one. Age management. Because there's no reason for you to look your age. You can manage that and slow down the aging of your internal organs by eating clean, eating healthy, making clear choices, and stop allowing your nutrition to come out of a box or a window only.
Mm-hmm.
And then become aware that if you live in a community, we send out about 600 boxes of groceries, 600 boxes of fresh vegetables. And you know what I'm talking about, Larry, because you get those boxes from us.
Mm-hmm.
That goes from the farm to the table to 600 families each month. We don't even realize it, but many people in our communities and some that are listening to us tonight are living with food insecurity and what I want to call food deserts, where you've got to be. Now, what does a food desert look like? If you leave the front door of your house and you got to drive more than 5 miles to find a clean head of lettuce, you are in a food insecure neighborhood. Because that means the people around you that don't have transportation or whatever, they're getting their nutrition out of a box or out of a window. And I'm telling you, that is killing your age and your weight management system.
Wow. Okay, so we hear that. I'm so interested, Bishop, in what is it that you are going to share tonight that's going to make you look more like a quack? I mean, 'cause they already say you that. I mean, but it's clear that that's not the case. So I'm really interested in it. I want to hear the judgment book.
Yes. So in the written judgments book, I went back to the prophecy in 1996, and I began to ask the Lord, I said, what is it about these birds in the sky? I wish we could have found a way to play back the prophecy. We're going to need to start to look for that. When the birds will fall out of the sky. I started getting calls from all over, and people started sending me articles. Bishop, these birds just fell out of the sky, and science don't know why. I mean, they've made up a lot of stories. And I kept questioning that. And then when you began to speak to me last week, I said, I want you to come on Monday night. Are you available? I said, yes. I said, what is it, Lord, that you want to communicate to the people? He said, go to Written Judgments, Volume 3, and there you will find the answer. In Written Judgments, Volume 3, on page 56, the word of the Lord, wildlife as plagues. I heard the rustling of wings above my head, and as I looked up, I saw birds of every species filling the air. I could understand their language, and they spoke unto the master, asking where they could lodge. Then the Lord began to speak, saying, this is the hour of major judgments. The house of men shall be plagued by the intrusion of wildlife. You will see the days where the beast of the fields and the fowl of the air shall become an enemy and a plague unto men. Now, as I heard the word of the Lord, the Spirit spoke to me and says, the virus is getting ready to be carried by the wildlife. You're going to see it in the birds, the fowls of the air. You're going to see it in the cattle. And there's some parts in the written judgments where it talks about there will be a virus that's connected with meat. And there will be seasons where we will need to go into meatless seasons. This is not something I'm telling you you'll do. This is going to be stuff that your governments are going to tell you to do. And when you hear about this, you're going to come back to saying, whoa, wait a minute. This sounds familiar. And you're going to be trying to discern what plants you can eat. We're in a time now that when the wildlife in the written judgments in 1996 was asking, where shall we lodge? We are in the season of the migration of wildlife. You're going to see birds inhabiting areas that they normally did not inhabit. We're going to find fish in areas and territories that they were not naturally in. And while this is taking place, you're going to start to see it with different species. This is going to be the season that I'm going to say to you, you're going to see this filling the news more and more. Watch, here's the word of the Lord. Watch the wildlife, because God is getting ready to show us signs in the birds and the creatures of the fields and the fowls of the air.
I read the other day where there was something that they were saying with the birds, the dogs, the cats, and deers as it relates to a virus that was showing up. So, and this was written when?
1996.
Right, yeah. Okay, so you're always about 20 to 30 years ahead when it comes to these type words. So we're going to be watching. I want everybody to type watch wildlife. Everybody type that in the chat. If there are 2,702 of you watching us between YouTube and Facebook, I need all of you guys to type watch wildlife.
And the AC on.
You about to say something, Bishop?
No, just telling the legs to turn the AC on.
Oh, okay, you done got hot.
Now, Larry, if I could just read another thing in the Written Judgments, Volume 4, it says meat industry. My hand will be seen in greater dimensions than has ever been witnessed before. This will be the time that the meat industries will come under severe judgment. The days will be upon a generation that will cause men to return to a diet of plants. For the day of meat consumption in the earth shall be judged. You will see incurable diseases emerge out of diets that will cause viruses to sweep the earth. We are getting ready to see this happening. I mean, this is not something new. This was written in 1998. But something is getting ready to sweep our nation and the world where our meat industry is going to come under judgment. And it is going to begin to be something with animals and viruses, and it's going to be the transmission of viruses from animals to humans.
Now, because prophecy is as it is, when you wrote this in 98, volume 3 of Written Judgments, I'm pretty sure people read it like, okay, and all these years done passed, and now, excuse me, and now, good God Almighty, let's sleep calling my name. Now it's here. So like 20 something years later. So is this something, what you're saying now, that we are closer to seeing happen? And did the Spirit give you a date, a time that this will begin to show up, or you're just sensing to tell us this because we're closer?
We are in those days now, and we are in the dawn of it.
Okay.
I believe that when February 22nd, 2022, America started to turn another corner.
Yeah. You prophesied that.
Yes. Omicron is here to stay. I want y'all to get this. And we was in one of your episodes and told you to watch out. And I know this is stuff that should probably be shared in Patreon, the 2 O's in Omicron.
Yes.
That this here virus was going to do the internal damage. So what does that mean? That means when people were saying, oh, the virus is just like a light cold, it's nothing. Oh, it's like a light cold, it's nothing. I told people, keep your mask on because Omicron is going to come with a vengeance. Because what it's going to do internally is going to be doing internal damage, and you're going to find people just going to wake up and hear that someone has left out that they were just talking to yesterday, and they just leave out of here because the internal damage that is going on in people's system, we don't know what the outcome of what is happening, even in asymptomatic people, of the damage of organs or different things happening internally. So what does that mean? This goes back to the age management and weight management. You want to lay aside every weight and every sin or misstep that will so easily beset you. This is going to be a time now that our temple have got to be in position to be able to have the sustainability to go through this season. I forget the doctor, I think it's Dr. Jill that you had on.
Yes.
When she was at your conference last year, and I don't know, is she going to be there this year?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet. Okay.
We're still getting the experts together.
Yeah, we're getting the experts. Okay. So there was something she said which was powerful. Well, out of a lot of things she said, but there was one thing that she said stuck to me. She said, move away from sugary drinks.
Yeah, she did. She did.
If there was anything I would say to people that are on with us now, you could do one step further. Just move away from sugary drinks. Don't do anything drastic. Just take the sugar out of your lemonade. Practice having coffee without sweetener, right? With processed sugar. Move away from sugar-filled sodas. Just get into a practice for the next 30 days and see what happens and how you feel when you move the sugar out, and see if you can go on a fast of just sugar.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, so everybody type sugar fast. Sugar fast. I think we should add that to our Build Your Immune System Health Challenge, to just cut back or cut out. You may have to start cut back first. Just cut the sugar out of your drinks. And it's interesting you say that. In one of the broadcasts we had Dr. Jill and Dr. Hoskins on, they both said the same thing in Patreon. Which is why it's important. If you, those of you, I can't wait for Bishop to come back. I can't wait for Bishop to come on the platform. I love both of y'all to have the conversation. It's going to come a time where we won't be able to come out here and do this, because it'll be pointless, because they'll be blocking it. You need to get over there in Patreon, patreon.com, patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. Come on and go over there in Patreon, because Bishop comes over there. All the experts come. It was over there when the doctor said, she described it, and she said as soon as she came on and we had a pause and have a Selah moment, there were so many people in the chat that were having this problem, and it was all coming from sugary drinks. She said something about what happens to sugar when it comes in the inside and what it does when it's moving around in the body and causing all the scarring. That is something that plagues the Black community. It's connected to the diabetes and the cancers that show up in the body. So for you to give us this direction, everybody type sugar fast. That is something that I think we can take out of tonight's live, that we begin to cut back on our sugar for the sake of our health. You say Omicron is going to be here to stay. So what are we going to do? Are we going to have to always wear masks? The government taking us out of masks.
Listen,
what we need to do?
Mask is going to be a part of your wardrobe from now until eternity. Well, put it this way. Let me read something out of Written Judgments, Volume 4, that on page number 22. It says, I will now cause a new cure to surface, and out of your plans you will discover that I, the Lord, have moved the mountains so that you could discover the abundance of what I have preserved for you. The hour is fast approaching that you shall see a germ connect itself to poultry. The other day I saw something happened with a chicken. I think I got, and I sent the news article to our leadership. And it says the first virus to be transmitted from a chicken to a human.
Yeah.
Now, here it is. The hour is fast approaching, and this was written in 1998, that a germ connected itself to poultry. Now, I want you all to listen to this, because there's another part of this prophecy and something that just hit the news recently. And the price of chicken will so escalate that it will become one of the most expensive meats in the earth. This time, I will start to move you towards a meatless diet for a season. The different attacks will start a panic in certain food items, and the economy shall mirror that fear, saith the Lord. Now listen to this part. I watched the ocean begin to churn and boil before my eyes. Out of the sea came a fish in North America. I wonder at its appearance, for it was not a fish in our region of the earth. And the Lord says, I bring new traffic in the sea. I begin to cause a change in the climate. This is talking about climate change here. And the seasons of hunting will no longer be as they were before. Hear me. The animals are migrating. There's movement that is going on and is happening now while there is a pandemic happening in the earth. Now, listen to this part here and you tell me if this sounds like this is today or do we need to wait another 50 years? The days will come that children will start to take a vaccination that are quite different from the vaccinations in the 60s and 80s. The children in the new millennium, this was written in 1998, we're now in that new millennium, will be up against new voices of evolving systems. You will see science run, but they will still try to produce a form of life that will explain the mystery of life. Overwhelming sorrow filled my heart as I saw tears coming to certain civilizations and helplessly watch loved ones removed from this life through viruses and unexpected diseases. And the Lord said, this is the hour that you will see great discoveries, but they will come at the expense of mankind. Great will be the price that will be paid by many undeveloped countries. And this is the hour that many of your loved ones will not see the fullness of this day, but they will help others to see the fullness of their days through the unwilling sacrifice of their life. And the prophecy continued on.
Okay, so let me just repeat what you said. We are in that hour now. I mean, because this is manifesting now. I just watched a show the other day on the ocean, and I just sat there and watched it. And they're discovering fish that are, in their words, they've never seen the fish before. They don't know what the fish does, don't know if it's good for consumption. And they're starting to see a migration of certain sea creatures that are coming closer to land. And they mention how the ocean is absorbing so much of the sun to where at some point the ocean is going to begin to boil in some areas. So that's very interesting. We are in that time now, and you were 20-something odd years ahead.
Yes.
Wow.
24 years ahead. Now, so what must we do? We must get what's next in Bishop Jordan. Well, let's just start with removing the sugar. Okay. And start looking at ministering to gut health. Is your gut healthy? Let's just start there. And Dr. Reid will be bringing people on in Patreon and start opening up that conversation concerning your health. Maybe what is sugar and what sugar is and what sugar is not. I'm just saying this now for the first time. Something else happened recently in the media, Larry. Children started all of a sudden coming up with hepatitis C.
Yeah, I saw that.
And needing liver transplants. This has never happened before. We are watching a virus, and I know we've talked about this in some of the earlier episodes, that we are going to see a virus that's coming to attack children.
Yes.
Those days are getting ready to come upon us.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there's going to be this rush to get a vaccine that will be able to go from infants on up.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
so just watch it.
Yeah. So there's so many things I want to ask, but let me just say this. Those of you that are watching, and if you're not in Patreon, if you're not a partner with the Larry Live platform, you need to decide to do that. patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. There's so many other things that you gave us insight on through the pandemic beginning in 2020. Now we are part 20. You told us what to do, how to make money in the stock market. And then as we began to do that, we ran into someone who is an expert in the stock market. Now, so many of LRLers and Zoites, LRLers and Zoites, they are making millions collectively of dollars since 2020 up to now. What do you see as relates to the stock market? You don't have to go into deep detail. That's why I'm giving everybody the invitation to Patreon, because that information comes with their subscription. But whatever you feel released to say here.
The market is going to be just one of the many vehicles to begin to, how can I say, be one of the many vehicles, because now we're talking about money.
Mm-hmm.
And if I may, read a word out of the Written Judgments, Volume 1 in 1988. And I think you and I have discussed this before. It says, I will bring judgment upon the banking institutions. And you will see entire insurance companies fold overnight. It will be the day of the great crossover. I will change the money, and a new currency will surface in the marketplace. It will be slowly released in the economy. This is 1988. In this day, the dollar will become very weak, but in this same hour, men will take hold of a new currency that will emerge in years to come.
Yeah.
Now that's the prophecy. Here's the very next line. Watch the coins. I will show you a mystery in the coins in days to come. This is on page 60 of Written Judgments. There was no such thing as Bitcoin.
Right. But all you said, watch the coins. I'm also thinking timing, because we're trying to track this, your prophecies. It was last year or the year before, it was around the pandemic, they said no more coins. We're not accepting any more coins. And now they really are getting rid of the coin. Could this be a marker in time for us to see that now we need to start moving like the banks, or being our own bank, or really listening to the spirit as it relates to our money and what we do with it?
We are going to be moving towards digital currency. Our money is getting ready to, and I'm going to show you this in the written, our money is getting ready to go into extinction. Written Judgments, Volume 2, 1989, page 53. I saw the hand of the Lord breaking out of the sky, holding the money of men. He said unto me, look upon the money that now is, and the money that shall be. As I beheld the denomination of the bills, the money of men that were on the bills began to droop, and water poured from their eyes. I asked, why are they mourning? What is this weeping I hear? The Lord answered me and said, it is the hour of their burial, and a currency shall arise that will not remind you of these men.
Whoa.
Your $1, $5, $10, your Hamilton, Jackson, Benjamin Franklin's, George Washington, Grants are going to become extinct.
Yeah. Everybody needs to type that. Our money is headed toward extinction. Our money is going into extinction. Excuse me.
Our money is going into extinction. I just typed it. Everybody start typing that. Our money is headed to going into extinction. Now, these are so many things you're watching. There are 2,976 of you watching between YouTube and Facebook. There are certain things that the Master Prophet already revealed and have broken open. If you're just tuning in, stay around. We are going to disclose some more. But first, what we're going to do right now, there is a documentary that is coming out, the life of this prophet that is with us today. Watch this. It is going to send chills up your spine as people talk about the prophecies that have came to pass as a result of Prophet Jordan. All right? And we'll be right back.
The master prophet is anointed. I mean, this man talked about a black president way before Barack Obama went to U.S. Senate.
I was blown away by the prophecy. The prophecy hit all the marks and told me of my future.
I'm listening to this man prophesy to me. I just screamed, I said, I'm done.
The master prophet began to hear from God. We were trying to wait and hear the rest of the word, but nothing else came. It was just
911. Well, God gives certain people certain insight toward guiding in the flow of where God wants us at the time in history that he's put us on earth for.
Oh, you know, he's a false prophet.
We were called the money church.
The love of money is the root of all evil.
I did not go into the ministry to get rich. I got rich doing ministry.
It wasn't about taking a vow of poverty.
The lack of money is the root of all evil.
How can you even be a Christian and not preach the message of prosperity? Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, they were rich people, had big houses.
When you lack money, you lack choices.
You have money, you can do great things in ministry. Believe his prophets, and so shall ye prosper.
Oh my God! Oh, that is going to be so good. I cannot wait. I'm going to be in the place June the 11th, New York Marriott Hotel. You need to make a decision. I hope you got that. What's that code? What you call? I don't even know how to say it. What you call them codes?
QR.
Yeah, QR codes. Make sure you get your. I hope you got it, so you can go ahead and get your ticket and be there. I am going to be there. This prophet of God, God has been speaking through for years, and we're so blessed to have had him on our platform for 20 episodes, and then some other shows we didn't even count, but for the church in the pandemic. So you just said something very powerful. If you're just tuning in, we've already gotten instructions about the necessity of the pivot that the churches have to make, which we're going to get back into as relates to the future. We also heard a clear word from the Lord that we're in the time right now that the written judgment begins to prophesy concerning the diseases that will go from the fowls to the cattle and then to the humans. And so we need to be building up our immune system. So one of the suggestions that the Master Prophet gave us was to go on a sugar fast. And the last thing he said before we went to our break was our money is headed towards extinction. All right, Bishop. Now, what do you say to those of us who are having the thought? Because you in the book you mentioned that the banks are just going to come upon the banks. How do you suggest our relationship should be as it relates to the bank?
Well, Larry, I'm glad you said that. Someone just came to me and said, Bishop, do you realize that AIG and the insurance companies in 2008 was collapsing? And that's when we had banking situations and the government had to bail them out. In 2009, Bitcoin was born. And so it looks like if this is what is happening in this season, that's just the beginning. Now we are seeing people trading with Bitcoin. I am receiving offerings. People give me donation in Bitcoin. I think tonight, as a prophetic act, if people right now that can do $100 seed in Bitcoin to this platform and just make a donation in Bitcoin. If you look and seek to do it, you might as well do it tonight, because this is getting ready to be the future of money. Watch this. This is getting ready to be the future of money. It was 3 years ago, Mama and Daddy Jones would say, I ain't putting no credit card on my wallet to pay for nothing. That's the devil. Today, they're putting their phone next to the machine to pay for their groceries, because it took a pandemic in order to shift the way of being, and it upgraded the entire world. So right now, I've never even done this before. So watch this. I want those of you that will give, I believe they can give if they're doing it by Cash App. There is a way to make your donation in Bitcoin. I want you to do that tonight, right here, as a prophetic sign, because it's going to begin to be the start of the money for the future. And I'm going to get 100, you know what? I think I'm going to get $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. And I'm going to send that tonight. This is going to be my first actual Bitcoin offering.
Wow.
For me it is.
Wow.
Right? Because the way that is about to be made is the future that you're growing into. Some of you will never work another 9 to 5 ever again, because you'll be doing work out from your home. And watch this, the future of money you want to talk about, so you will stop trading time for money, and you'll be trading wisdom for money. You will be removed from you'll be removed from what I call a slave wage, because God wants to move you to daily bread. Someone wants to pay you for your wisdom and not for your hours.
Wow.
How can I give today?
The way that you can do your Bitcoin, if you have Bitcoin, which was not even in my language, this is the first time. This is the first time Bishop is ever giving in Bitcoin. It's a prophetic act of where money is going, because your money is going into extinction. So those of you that have Bitcoin, you can do Bitcoin in the Cash App. It has that function. $MBN Network. And I do think you also can do Bitcoin transactions in Venmo as well, Stripe. But Cash App, I'm sure of, $MBN Network. And those of you that just say, I don't have Bitcoin, but we're in a moment where we are sowing and where we are giving, and you want to sow your seed. Bishop, what is our worship tonight? What is our prophetic give at? What number is it at?
I'm going to just tell the people to do 118.25. Let it be the Psalm 118.25. Let it be Psalms 118 prayer. That is a Hallel prayer.
Yeah.
Send now prosperity.
118.25. So those of you that are watching us on tonight, and we're not finished, so don't give and leave. I need for you to donate and stay, because I have one more thing that I need to ask Master Prophet Jordan, and you know he's going to give us a God answer. So those of you that are watching now, first time Bitcoin, and those of you that are watching and you want to participate in this moment of worship, $118.25. It is Psalm 1-1825. And this is your prayer and your mantra for the next 7 days. Send now prosperity. We did it in Patreon last month, I think we did. And God moved supernaturally. So the Psalm 118:25 seeds and begin to pray for the next 7 days. Just chant it all the day long. Send now prosperity. You said you
what I want them to do while they're going to be doing it for the next 7 days, I want you to just to say it 12 times right now as you're sowing it. Send now prosperity. 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 Because what's going to happen, God is getting ready to show you the way. We're coming towards the close of the first half of the year. This next half of the year is going to be critical for your positioning, because we told you in the beginning of the pandemic that we would see this happening until the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023, and then we should start to see the new normal.
Yeah.
The new normal is getting ready to present itself in 2023. This here is not the new normal, but the new normal is on the way.
It's on the way. Send now prosperity is our prayer for the next 7 days, 12 times a day. Make sure you chat it, you pray it, you chant it, you mantra it 12 times a day. 1-1825. Cash App $MBN Network, where you can process your 1-1825 donation. Make sure you put your phone number in the memo, please, so we can call you. Venmo @MBN Network. Zelle information info@thembnnetwork.org. Or you can go to LarryReidLive.com and click donate right now. Or this is a really easy way. Text the word give to 404-800-4530. That is the word give to 404-800-4530. And those of you that love sending in your money orders and things of that nature, you can mail it to 780 Morosgo Drive Northeast, suite number 244-224, Atlanta, Georgia 30324. There are 2,865 of you watching us now, and we want every last one of you to hit like and share the link and share this with people that want to know what is in the future. Bishop.
Yes.
Our money is moving into extinction. We're going on a sugar fast. We know the hour we're in as relates to these diseases. Keep our immune system built up. The church and the digital thing. Should churches not try to resume everything in the four walls? Can they do both? Should they only do one or not the other? What do you suggest? What is the word of the Lord as relates to that?
Okay, we're going to come to that. I want to read a prophetic word in 1989 out of Written Judgments, Volume 2. I just happened to turn to it on page 68. Divine order shall mark my house in degrees that will make the 20th century church appear ancient.
Whoa.
I will cause a people to emerge that will show the pattern of my kingdom to the world. It will be the day that you will find the church taking a new level of ministry within the earth. For this is the time I will cause my presence to be revealed in ways that you have never known. The beginning of the 21st century, we're in that now, will see a unique move of my spirit, whereby I will cause men and women to minister in teams. The earth shall smell the sweet incense of team ministry that will be born of covenant relationships. For the 90s are just the beginning. You will see indisputable proof of my hand in the 21st century, saith the Lord.
Whoa.
We are coming into the age. Are we going to be in buildings or not? There will always be buildings.
Okay.
Right? There will always be those that will be gathering in buildings. But then there's going to be those that will not need the building to gather, because they will understand that the gathering is in consciousness on platforms. The gathering will be in the space of consciousness, not in the space of physical bodies. The gathering, like tonight, there's how many people? There's about 1,000 people listening to us all together on all the different platforms.
No, 2,910 people on all the platforms.
Okay, so on all the platforms, you got close to 3. Where could we have had 3,000 people gather here tonight unless we put about 50,000 into marketing to try to get and put money into hotels?
True.
But they are gathering, and you cannot deny them having an experience right now, because they're transacting in the gathering. They're getting information in the gathering. A matter of fact, we have their undivided attention in the gathering, and we are getting them to begin to see a future that they did not see before, and they're able to take the kind of action to be productive. Some people learned how to buy Bitcoin for the first time on their Cash App. They sit there and put buy, whatever, the $100 or whatever, and then they bought it, and then it's transferred in their Bitcoin. They're now learning tonight, I can trade and transact in Bitcoin. Maybe I can tell some people to pay me in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is like this. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's true now.
And I can just let it sit. Because it wasn't too long that it was $60,000 about for a Bitcoin. Right now, I don't know what it is. It might be 30,000, 40,000. But if you can sit there and hold it and just hold on a little while longer, that can be something that looks like the investment of the future.
Wow.
So we'll be meeting in different kind of spaces. We'll be meeting in consciousness. Many people have gone back into brick and mortar. Offerings went down instead of going up. Well, what is that telling you? Perhaps it is the hour of intimacy and not the hour of voyaging, where you have people looking in at your service. It's time to be able to relate like you and I.
One of the great things that you and I have done is that we have taught our people how to worship with their money and not their emotions. One of the manipulations that I've seen in church is to stir up the emotions in such a way until you're hijacked and you begin to move according to whatever you're being instructed to do, or either a show is put on for you by a magician, and they tell you things you already know: your name, your address, your weight, your number, your social security number, your dead husband, your old aunt, their physical condition. And then that wows you enough to where then when they turn around and say, you need to sow a $10,000 seed out of the account that ends in 1935, you move. We have really taken people out of that kind of mindset to where they sow with a clear mind, in faith, and out of obedience, to the worship or the prophetic word or what have you. That I think that is powerful, and we're seeing greater results.
Yeah, well, it's like this, Larry. We have rotary. You remember the rotary phone?
Yeah.
Where you went to the phone and dialed it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of rotary prophets and rotary prophetic voices and rotary preachers that were very. Now is the rotary phone, when it dialed, was it very accurate in its dialing?
Yeah, it was.
Of course, it makes the connection, right? But can you read the app on the rotary phone today?
No.
You can't read an app on a rotary phone, right? Because that phone does not connect to your 5G network. What we are seeing today is the moment of the rotary preacher has got to be pushed to the side because the rotary no longer connects to the digital age and the digital stage. What God is beginning to do in this hour is not so much bring prophets that are accurate, but bring prophets that are timely, that is able to move in the spirit and the vision of their day. So, how are you interacting? Right now, we just did a Bitcoin offering, right? There'll be a lot of talk about that. That now will start the living conversation.
Right.
You're sitting here probably saying, how do I do this in Bitcoin? This is something new for me. Because see, the brain hates what is new, but loves what is the same. So something will seem wrong about it. But once you adjust to the light of it, you're now in a whole new phase of being. You're going to be in a whole new world of revenue. Amen. You're going to start getting a coin wallet. You're going to start having a cryptocurrency wallet that you're going to watch grow and build. And you'll be able to trade in cryptocurrency in marketplaces that don't even use your money or your currency.
Yeah.
It's time for you to know that the world is a village and we now are global citizens of the planet.
And you know, that's very difficult for our Western brain to think global. And I see a lot of people with the Holy Ghost, and well, they say they do have it, and they're not global in their language, in their vision, and their prophecies. Are we about to not only see our money become extinct, but are we going to see certain ministries become extinct?
It's already happening. It's already happening because the voices that you used to hear on the lips of the saints 10 years ago, those names are no longer on their lips. The people that you would hear, television, anyone going into television ministry, you have to ask yourself why. Because people don't even look at TV no more. TV has become the new white noise.
Last week and this is why you need to get in Patreon. Last week we had Bishop George Bloomer in my Patreon on Wednesday night, midweek stretch. We're in Patreon every Sunday morning and every Wednesday evening for empowering teaching, and he was a guest. And he, as you know, was on the Word Network. And so he would do their Friday nights and buy books, and people would buy his books and things of that nature. He came over to talk to us about how all of you out there that, you know, that say, my sign is the cross, it's not Aquarius, Gemini, whatever. Well, he came over there to point out in the scripture your sign. And it was phenomenal. If you join Patreon tonight, you can go and watch the replay. It was crazy. And he, in about 15 minutes, sold double or more books than what he would when he was on the Word Network. We had one patron to buy 100 copies. That was just one. You know, so the world, all of you who are chasing to be on TV and running and in a rat race, you know, trying to get on TV, just remember that the future of TV is dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a matter of fact, when you begin to look, we've just released a new book called To Only Our Disciples, people that's in the blessing plan. You have this, the evil and pain of the slave consciousness, right? Now, we write for our disciples.
Right.
But we now have created an app that when you are a part of our ministry platform, the Blessing Plan, you get all of my books that we released in the Blessing Plan as an audio book and as a PDF that you can read right there on your phone. And it happens instantaneously. So where you had to wait for a book to come in the mail, that book is turned on in your smartphone, but I can't turn it on in your rotary phone. See, the way ministry is today, we're going to start moving towards application, app platforms, financial technology. Everything is being given and received. The word of God is being received in the palm of your hand through book. But I'm also worshiping and giving right here at the palm of my hand. I'm using an app right now to go to Cash App, right? Or to Venmo app. Notice today, your ministry, if it is not app connected or app related, you are a dinosaur and you are about to become extinct. When Jesus came, he used the most upgraded technology of his day. He took 12 men, made them disciples, and was casting out devils. He was introducing new technologies, new forms of ministry in the marketplace, healing the sick. The crowds was following. Why? Because the technology was new. I mean, I don't want to hate on Kanye West, but he went and did something and used a platform, created a choir, and took the gospel charts. The first, and and the music, and of course, gospel artists started screaming, "This is unfair. This is not right." No, he used the media. He used the technology of its day. While you were trying to get at a Dove Awards or whatever award, he said, "Forget all that. I'm going to get in the marketplace and go viral on these several different platforms." While you were looking for an A&R director, he went and became the A&R. A matter of fact, he has somebody that just follows him around just to get content, and he does his own documentary. See, the children of this world are wiser in their ability to generate than the children of light. We must bring our brothers and sisters out of the stone age of ministry.
Wow. And that's really what you're saying here tonight. We've heard 5 or 6 key things that can really shift us and pivot us and get us in a great posture for the future. One of the things that I want to say, because there are a lot of people with the title prophets, but they're not futurists. And the person that is in your ear has the power to reshape your year. And this is the reason why I've asked many of you to get into Patreon and give me a year. Just give me a year. And your year with me is a year with me and all of my experts, including my spiritual father. You need to get into Patreon and get into that community and get plugged in. Bishop said it prophetically. It's time to get plugged in. You can't depend on YouTube and Facebook to send you a notification. Oh, the prophet you need to hear is on. No, you're going to have to get plugged in. You're going to need to text Larry Reid Live, no spaces, to 33222. You're going to need to get into patreon.com/Larry Live. You're going to need to go to zoeministries.com and make sure you sign up, download the app, the Taruma app, TARUMAH. You got to get plugged in to know what we're saying, because the way this thing works is we get a word and we go to our partners. This book that he just wrote, I got it because I'm a partner. You have to be plugged in.
Now, Larry, thank you for that. And if I may, and if they right now text me at 55444 and text the word prophecy1, PROPHECY, and the number 1, numeral uno, 1, the number 1. PROPHECY, prophecy1. Text it to the number 55444. And it's going to ask for your name. And it's going to ask for your emails. Just fill that out. And what is going to happen, I'm going to write you back a prophetic word that's going to speak something into your life right now. So you just text prophecy 1. Thank you. It's on. I love this. Text prophecy 1 to 55444. And when you do that, now watch this. This is technology. Your name is going to pop up in my phone. And so I'm just looking for the next person whose name pops up in my phone. Your name will pop up in my phone. In the documentary, you're going to hear Kearney Thomas talk about his experience, his first time with me, when he came and signed in on that time, and I gave a prophetic word without seeing him. I know a lot of times people says, you mean you don't need to see my face to give a prophecy? No, I hear the word of the Lord. And one of the things, Larry, that I must say is that people need to know this. Many of the prophets have been accurate with your name, first and last name, date of birth, all this kind of stuff. But none of them said nothing about a virus coming. None of them said anything about school closing. They didn't have no, I questioned, and I was sharing with another company of prophets. I said, we need to question this. How come there has not been anything predictive? Most of the time they have cited a problem, but not give me the future of an answer. And this is where we now got to begin to see the prophetic. Cite me an answer that is relevant to my need. Now I'm telling you, thank you. I just got Montoya Jeter text, God bless you, Montoya. We're going to prophesy the word of the Lord to you. But I want to say to Montoya right here, Montoya is supposed to be doing something with childcare. Montoya has a gift for children. The word of the Lord to her is that she's going to do something with children. And something miraculous is happening for her right now. She's listening to me. She's looking around saying, how can that even be so? How does he know? But that's the word of the Lord.
That's the power of prophecy. Yes, it is. So make sure you text prophecy and the number 1 to 55444 to get plugged in when Bishop is going live, whenever he is sharing with his partners, and get plugged in. Make sure you get plugged in tonight, because we may not always be here. They may do us like they did what's Farrakhan and them other folk, and block the whole stream, keep us off of social media because of what we're saying. So text prophecy 1 to 55444, and then you can also text Larry Reid Live to 33222. Put no spaces between the prophecy and the number 1. Just send it all together, 55444. And then when you do Larry Live, don't have no spaces in that either. And just put 33222, because it's time to get plugged in. These 20 shows could have been a gift from God to social media. And now we may get a leading to, from now on, to only do it on Bishop's Closed platform or on my closed platform in Patreon. And so you're going to need to be plugged in so you know where to go to get the information. I saw someone in the comments saying, if it's that important and you know how many lives you're helping, why not continue to do it on social media? There's some things we can't say here. They're blocking us from saying. And we need to be saying it to you. So you need to plug in to us so that then we can talk directly to you and not have to shave away any words and keep it very clear. Okay, so Bishop, the many entrepreneurs that are entrepreneur. Oh, hold on, we didn't finish the last thing about the stock market. You mentioned us about the banks, how we should relate to the banks, and but we got off track, I think there.
Yes. So you want to know? So right now, you're in a bearish part of the market. This is where you.
What that mean?
I'm getting ready to sing it. This is where you need to start plugging into Rosalind. Platform. Where she explained there's people right now making money while the market is losing money. And she's teaching them strategies like how to buy the VIX, how to predict. Now watch this. Where she's not telling you what to buy, she's teaching you how to watch the signals and begin to track the market and move what works for you. People have left their jobs.
Yeah.
And all they do is live now by trading.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, you was never designed to work for money, but you were designed for money to work for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And see,
it was not ordained for you to go somewhere and do time. It was ordained for you to have money, put more money in your pocket.
Money to put more money. And see, this is one of the things about Patreon. This happened last month. Because Bishop, he just moved by the Spirit like I do, just to and fro. But he happened to call me twice on a Wednesday night. Soon as I hit the stream to talk to my patrons, and he jumped right in, and we start talking, and then the word of the Lord come forth, and then I hang up with him. Then I call Dr. Jill. I said, well, what do we need to do about that? And she talked to the patrons. I hang up, then send the link to Rosalind. Rosalind come up there and say, okay, listen, over the next 2 days, you need to do this if you got this in your portfolio. And then the next week, we get all the testimonies. You need to be in an exclusive community of people who are like you, who are hungry to know what is in the mind of God and how we should be moving and pivoting with the future ever changing. You don't never go to the doctor one time. All right, he told me everything is what I need to know, and then you never go back. You need to remain in the community and pay attention and really stay plugged in.
So we talked about age management, weight management. Now you're talking about money management.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that don't have maintenance, age maintenance, weight maintenance, money maintenance, gets out of control, overgrows, and becomes a weed instead of a functioning seed.
Jesus.
So, who are your economic advisors?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who are your, so when we gave people the EXPI and people made all that money with the EXPI and they went into the market and did well with EXPI, and we call a conference call, we're going to tell you some more news about EXPI. That was God showing people this is what is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after that, he brought the people to us that would say, now show them how to work a system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you one miracle. I'm going to show you that apples do grow. The next one is, watch this. I'm going to give you the manna from the sky,
mm-hmm.
a cloud by day, and a pillar of fire by night. I'm going to give you heat and air conditioning in the desert. But your promised land, and this is where people don't want to come to the promised land. The promised land is where you're going to have to build your own vineyards, kick out your giants, and you got to do the maintenance work.
Mm-hmm.
What Rosalind has done is taught people how to build their own harvest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't wait, watch this, for the prophet to give you a next call of what to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've asked the Lord, I said, Lord, give me something else to give to the people about a stock. He goes silent. I said, why are you silent? He says, tell them to learn the system of how to grow money instead of waiting for a magic moment.
Oh, my God. And see, that's how he works. He's like, whenever someone sows a seed, and this has happened, and then they get a huge windfall, I said, that's for your faith now. I said, now your faith, now you need to go into a certain kind of work and begin to put certain things into place. What we have done in Patreon is Rosalind has an offer that's only for patrons.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just come to her, email her, go to a site and sign up and get this and get it at this kind of offer.
And let me just say something. I hate to cut you off, Larry, Dr. Reid. What she gets paid to do this, she came to me first and told me what she wanted to do. I said, Rosalind, you crazy. Why are you doing that for that price? I says, I even started sounding like my oppressor. These people. And she said, I know, she says, and I respect it. She says, the Lord wants me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
the price she is giving the people that for, and she's on the phone sitting with them, showing them how to trade. I sat there and said, you can't get that nowhere else. But because of the connection, she started to crash. She was gonna come tonight and crash the show tonight. But I guess because she's in town. Thank you very much, Larry. She came here bearing gifts last night and brought me some nice Gucci rings for money. And she says, if you don't like it, blame it on Larry Reid. I said, I love it. No, but it was great. But I want to just say this. You really don't know what y'all have here. I wish y'all knew. I wish you understood. We had to beg Larry to come back to the church. He was done. He could be on an island somewhere. He was done. He was done. I said, Larry, hold on. You still got ministry in you. Gone. Gone. But what he has built by the grace of God, it has extended to you. You got to ask yourself the question, did that $12.99, and even his price, I tell him, I said, Larry, that's criminal. That's less than $1 a day.
Yeah, it is. 33 cents a day, I think it is.
See, and I says, but he's holding that line, giving you info. And many of you have grown. I know people that have literally have become day traders.
Yeah.
And making more than what their weekly income by following the system. So I've waited. He gave us Macy's. He gave us EXPI. He gave us Tesla.
Moderna, McDonald's.
Moderna. I had made so much money out of Moderna. I didn't know when to come out. But thank God I made 6 figures plus.
Yeah.
And I said, and just the other day, he spoke to me about one stock to get. He told the Spirit told me to buy Amazon. And I said, Amazon, I didn't argue. I said, okay. After I bought it, it went down. I says, okay, Father, what's going on? He said, buy some more. So guess what? You're the only ones that heard it from me. Why are you buying Amazon? We'll find out. Stay tuned. Right? That's what happened with Tesla. I had people that were experts say to me, when I purchased Tesla before the split, when it was $100 and something, Bishop, come out of it. This is going nowhere. Electric car. Ha, 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 ha. Today, all I do is shake my head and laugh. Right? But watch this. If you're not prepared to lose money in the stock market, don't go in it. Because you're going to lose money, but you will gain money in the long run if you can stay the course long enough to see a turn.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this has been part 20. We've been here for 2 hours with you. And this is what I want you to do. Text Prophecy 1 to 55444 so you can get the alerts when Bishop is going to be either on his social media or with his partners. I don't know all of the information, but you'll get so much information there. So go ahead and text Prophecy 1 to 55444 so that you can be plugged in. You also need to join Patreon so you can get into Rosalind's class, because you have to be a patron first. patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. And then Bishop told us to worship with him tonight 118:25. Psalm 118. It's a prayer. Send now prosperity. We are supposed to be saying this over the next 7 days, 12 times a day. And the way that you can do your 118:25 is text the word give to 404-800-4530. Or you can go to LarryReidLive.com and click donate to process it through PayPal or Zelle. The Zelle email address is info@thembnnetwork.org. Venmo @MBN Network. Cash App MBN Network. And those of you that have Bitcoin, Bishop gave a challenge to send in $100 for the first time, prophetic of where your money is going, because he told us tonight that our money is going into extinction. And so we're going to need to get into that tight money. Sugar fast, everybody. Sugar fast, everyone. Man, there's so much that came out of this one tonight. Bishop, any last words?
I want people to go and join Patreon. Listen, if you're not a part of Patreon, you're going to miss the flow. I'm telling you, the information that's coming out of Patreon, the specialized knowledge. And when we get another moment, Larry, we're going to talk about some things that are going to happen in the heavens, because America is headed towards a civil war, right? And so these are going to be some of the things that we're going to have to begin to look at is what's going to happen when there's going to be certain states. Now, I know it's going to sound crazy, but when certain states will ask to break away from the Union or break away from the Constitution because they won't like the leadership that is coming into power. So we're liable to see some very interesting conversations within the next 2 years that is going to make your mouse hit the floor.
And
people have to make a decision on what states they will live in order to continue the future of their life.
Wow. And you also go on record saying that the pandemic, we're going to go into a new way of life. This is not it, but we're going to start seeing it in the first quarter of 2023, correct?
Yep. In the first quarter of 2023, the end of this year. And the way you're going to know it is they're going to start telling you it is no longer a pandemic. It is an endemic, and you'll see the end, and they'll start making mandatory things that you're going to have to do in order to survive this endemic.
All right. Well, you guys, we heard it here. We've been graced with this prophet. We are privileged. We are privileged. On our way out, I want you to look at what is about to hit your YouTube and Facebook platforms that you love to visit. It's going to be a documentary on this great man of God. I'm going to show you a clip, a teaser on what is going to be coming out really soon. Bishop Ebenard Jordan, America's Black Prophet, to the whole entire world. Thank you so much for coming here. I don't know what I've done before. Yes, I do. I'm about to say I don't know what I've done to deserve it, but I bet dog all that fasting and praying for years and crying. So glad my teacher showed up.
And I'm glad that you showed up as well, Larry, because you are doing something on a Monday night that most ministries are not, and you're modeling the future of church. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. All right, get ready to watch this one more time. We're out. God bless you.
The master prophet is anointed. I mean, this man talked about a black president way before Barack Obama went to U.S. Senate.
I was blown away by the prophecy. The prophecy hit all the marks and told me of my future.
Now I'm listening to this man prophesy to me. I just screamed, I said, I'm done.
The master prophet began to hear from God. We were trying to wait and hear the rest of the word, but nothing else came. It was just
911.
Well, God gives certain people certain insight toward guiding in the flow of where God wants us at the time in history that he's put us on earth for.
Oh, he's a false prophet.
We were called the money church.
The love of money is the root of all evil.
I did not go into the ministry to get rich. I got rich doing ministry.
It wasn't about taking a vow of poverty.
The lack of money is the root of all evil.
How can you even be a Christian and not preach the message of prosperity? Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, they were rich people, had big houses.
When you lack money, you lack choices. You have money, you can do great things in ministry. Believe his prophets, and so shall ye prosper.